Hi, Anthony here from Learning to Play the Guitar. In this video, we're going to demystify the three minor modes of the major scale. We're going to look at the Aeolian Mode, also known as the natural minor scale, the Dorian Mode, and the Phrygian Mode. We'll see how they sound and how they work over particular chords and how you can use them to create solos and melodies and even riffs within your own songs. So what is the mode of the major scale? A mode is a scale or a collection of notes that doesn't begin on the root note of the scale. So for example, if we had a C major scale, but we started playing that instead of on the C note here, we'd move that to start on the D note, the second scale degree. And if we have this idea, we're going to hear this. And that is a thing called the D Dorian mode, which fits over the D minor chord and certain songs in the key of D minor. So it gives you a particular flavour that is a bit different to the sound of just the stock standard major scale. Just a reminder, if you're enjoying this video, please like and subscribe, and you can check out more lessons and my books at my website, learningtoplaytheguitar.net. So the first mode we're going to look at is the Aeolian Mode, where we are basically looking at a mode starting on the 6th scale degree of the C major scale in this case. So C, D, E, F, G, A is the 6th note of that scale, and so that is an A note, of course. So we're going to look at the Aeolian Mode here. So the notes here are the root note of an A, 2nd scale degree, major second of a B, minor third of a C, the 4th being a D, the 5th being an E, the minor 6th being an F, the minor 7th being a G, and then we're back to the A, giving you that particular sound there. And so this is a minor mode because the root note is A, the 3rd note is C, and the 5th note is E, giving you an A minor triad, giving you a minor sound for this particular mode. So thus it will fit over songs in a minor key, in this case A minor. And so from that, using the notes of the mode, you can create various chords, and that will dictate the sound of the mode, and also obviously that the mode will fit over these chords as well, vice versa. So first off, we can look at these chords. We have an A minor, which you can also jazz it up to an A minor 7. The second chord would be a B minor 7 flat 5, B half diminished. Third chord would be a C major, or we can go C major 7, just to jazz it up. And D minor is number 4, D minor 7 if you like, to make it more interesting. E minor is number 5, E minor 7 if you want to vary it a bit. There, number 6 is F major, or F major 7, or then all the way up to number 7 we have a G major there, or a G dominant 7. So those chords there will match the Aeolian Mode, giving you that particular flavour. Songs that use the Aeolian Mode include Autumn Leaves, which is a jazz standard, Black Magic Woman by Santana, Californication by the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Do I Want to Know by the Arctic Monkeys, Losing My Religion, REM, Nothing Else Matters, Metallica of course, and Stairway to Heaven by Led Zeppelin. So here is the basic pattern for the Aeolian Mode. So you can also see within that, there is actually an A minor pentatonic pattern 1 hiding. So when I learned these mode shapes years ago, I just basically thought of them as the minor pentatonic scale with some extra notes thrown in. So that's a good way to sort of get comfortable with these patterns and shapes. So here is a solo I created using the Aeolian Mode, played over the chords of A minor, D minor, F, and G major. This will give you an idea of the sound of the mode and how it can work over particular chords. So the next mode we're going to look at is the Dorian Mode. Here we're going to stick with the key of A minor again, so we can compare the sounds and basically the patterns in the same position. So here the A Dorian is based on the 2nd scale degree of the major scale. In this case, if we're in A Dorian, it's going to be based around the notes of the G major scale, but starting on an A. So this will now give us root note of A, 2nd scale degree of B, minor third of C, fourth of D, and E, which is the fifth, a major 6 now, which is an F sharp, and a minor 7 G, and back to the A. So that sound is a bit lighter, a bit more majory, if that's such a thing. So it's not quite as dark as the Aeolian or natural minor scale. And so then the chords that are built off these notes include, again, A minor. Again, you can A minor 7 these. Now the second chord becomes a B minor chord. We can also make that a B minor 7 if you want to. C major again, C major 7. And now the fourth chord becomes a D major, where previously it was D minor in the other mode. And you can also make this a D dominant 7 if you like. Chord number 5 is E minor, still E minor 7. Now the chord number 6 is now an F sharp half diminished, or minor 7 flat 5. And then the G is G major again, but now if you want to jazz it up, it becomes a G major 7. So now we have, definitely the biggest change here is having that D major on the fourth chord, making it sound a lot more light, and so it's minor but not very dark. So many songs use this, what's called the 1 to 4 change, in this case say an A minor to a D major change, to give you that Dorian sound. And so songs that do that include Oyo Como Va by Santana, Down by the River, the verse of that song by Neil Young, Rocket Man verse by Elton John, Breathe, the verse of that, which is that Pink Floyd song, Venus, the Venus on a Mountaintop song famously covered by Bananarama, that is also using that chord sequence, and Weather With You by Crowded House also uses that same chord sequence of the minor 1 to the major 4 chord, giving you that Dorian sound. That's in the key of E, for example. So here is the A Dorian mode pattern at fret 5 again. So again, that minor pentatonic shape is hiding within that mode again. So here is my guitar solo using the A Dorian mode over the chords of A minor, D major, C and G major, to give you an idea of the sound and what you can do with this Dorian mode. So the final mode here is the Phrygian mode. So sticking with the key of A minor again, we now have a mode where we are changing the minor second note down a half step. So this mode actually comes from the third scale degree of the major scale. So in this case, if we're dealing with an A Phrygian mode, it's actually the third scale degree of F major. So F, G, A, 1, 2, 3. So now on A, we're going to play these notes, which is an A as the root. The B flat is the minor second, minor third C, fourth is the D, fifth E, minor 6 F, minor 7 G, and back to the A. So it has a little bit of a Spanish, it has a very dark tone with this minor second. Jaws, anyone? So it has a very dark sound which suits a lot of metal songs. It's used a bit in Spanish music as well. So the chords that fit the Phrygian mode are A minor, again we can minor 7 that, B flat major now, you can go B flat major 7, C major again, or C dominant 7 with the B flat note in the middle of that chord there. Then we're going to go to D minor 7 is an option too. Now the fifth chord is going to be an E minor 7 flat 5 because now we have a B flat in it. Particular sound there. The fourth chord is F, or F major 7 again, and then we go all the way up to G, but now G becomes G minor, or G minor 7. So more minor things happening in this particular collection of notes. So songs that use the Phrygian mode include Asturias, which is a famous flamenco Spanish piece of music, Wherever I May Roam by Metallica, Symphony of Destruction by Megadeth, and White Rabbit by Jefferson Airplane. So here is the basic pattern across the 6 strings, again based in fret 5, and there is the A minor pentatonic shape overlaid within this pattern again. Here we go. So finally, here is my guitar solo using the A Phrygian mode over the chords of A minor, B flat, C and D minor. Again, to give you an idea of the sound and what things you can do with this mode. So now you've heard the 3 distinct sounds of these minor modes, the Aeolian, Dorian and Phrygian. Have a go and see what you can come up with using these patterns to create your own melodies and solos, using the correct combination of chords that fit these modes.